Um, you talked a little bit earlier this week on TV about trying to lure businesses away from San Francisco, trying to get some folks in.
We know that there's going to be continued immense growth in software companies and in high tech companies, and that we really are a region. I mean, one of the reasons that you have the software companies is because you also have the computer companies, and you have this highly educated area. We've got the University of California, we've got Stanford, the city of Oakland has one of the most educated, ironically, both one of the most educated workforces and one of the highest dropout rates for African Americans in the same city. So it is the region is looked at as a very strong leader in high tech and technology and continues to be, including software. So I was telling the story at ABAG that when you talk to the Chinese, they always ask me to repeat how many people we have when I say we have 400,000, because to them that's not a city. Anything that's under 2 million, even San Francisco at 900,000, they can't believe that's all the people that San Francisco has. So the people who are the investors, though, think of us as a region. And that's ironic because that's what ABAG is trying to do. We're trying to create a regional government and collaboration. I've always seen exactly that. Oakland is a good alternative for expansion from San Francisco, and that we've had in the past some companies move either just as we have the problem of people moving from Oakland out to the suburbs, they have the problem of people moving to San Francisco. What the advantage and the difference we have is that we're just 10 minutes from downtown. Jerry Brown used to tell this joke how downtown Oakland is closer to downtown San Francisco than most of San Francisco, particularly when you talk about travel time. I got the day I went over for the talked about meeting. I got here at City Hall, got on BART, and I was there in 10 minutes, and we had time to have coffee and yogurt, and I got to play. I tried to play Zynga's game Cityville. I had enough time to do all of that before we went into the meeting because I didn't know how long it was going to take. Had I driven, it definitely would have taken much longer than that. It would have cost me much more, right? So I think Oakland's a very attractive location for companies in San Francisco that are expanding, and particularly companies are different. And so I was trying to tell Ed is what I learned from Zynga is that they want to be close to their workforce. Their whole competitiveness is being close to the people who have the knowledge and the culture and on the cutting edge. So those tend to be young 20 or 30-year-olds kind of people who live downtown, right? And so they're very interested to come because this is where the people are, and they're fighting off all the other companies for those kinds of people. So their strategy is actually to have multiple campuses to be close to colleges and to where these young talented people are. And so they're not looking, okay, we're just going to have one place and everybody's going to come here. That's sort of the old business model. So I think Oakland's going to benefit from that. I think we're also just going to benefit a lot of the small software companies. Joe Kennedy from Pandora has been trying to develop a cluster around him because he wants to build an intellectual community of software designers. And so he finds the East, so he wants more company over here. He's got a couple small incubator groups working right around him right now, and he'd love to have more company. So it's not just the city of Oakland that's trying to recruit these high-tech companies. It's our leading companies that are interested in doing it too. And so obviously the fact that we're close to San Francisco, the fact that we have better weather, we have the hottest restaurants, we have the sort of youth and art and cultural scene downtown, and our rents are $10 or more less per square foot than San Francisco, and I have no payroll tax helps. And then we also have a phase in on the enterprise, what we call on this side the business tax, so that if a big company comes here, we'll phase in their business tax to help pay for the move and the startup.
Yeah, on the restaurants, has the city done any kind of an analysis of the actual employment compared to 10 years ago? Because what I'm hearing from the restaurant industry associations is the overall employment in Oakland is down. There are these star restaurants that are getting all the attention, but a lot of their employees are ending up at the county lining up for food stamps because they don't make enough money.
I think that's true of restaurant workers everywhere. I grew up in a restaurant. So I actually think and they're downtown. I actually think the restaurant scene around the city is pretty good. I mean, I almost had no restaurants in the Diamond when I started as a council member, and I was really moved before the shooting when I went to the food fair to mobilize people for the merchants meeting. I was really impressed by the range of regional Mexican restaurants. I mean, I studied as a Kellogg Fellow in Mexico, and there were some mole dishes and this corn fungus that you usually can only get at the taquerias in Mexico City. All these sort of dishes, the cactus that you get from the Southwest, is that were just in these regular little mom and pop stores. And so I was like thinking, wow, I'm coming back and eating my way through the regional restaurants because I hadn't been to some of them for a while. So I actually think that we're probably at least even. But there are a lot of restaurants. 50% of restaurants fail. Like I said, I'm a restaurant brat. My mother and father had a restaurant. My sister had a restaurant. My cousins have had restaurants. It's hard work, and 50% of restaurants in the United States fail. So it's a hard industry, but I don't know. When I was elected 8 years ago, Sanjeev, and I worked late on Friday nights, there was only the Vietnamese place to eat late at night, and I certainly have a lot more choices now than I did then.
The library, Libby introduced a proposal today to have Piedmont and Emerald pay the same per capita that Oakland residents pay. Do you have any thoughts on that?
We've been trying to get to them to pay that, but they don't necessarily have to. I mean, they could just say, we're not going to pay you anything, and their people could all go get a county card, which we have to give to them under the current law. So yes, there's a lot of moral pressure, particularly on the city of Piedmont, who benefits and can afford. They don't pay the parcel tax. Their kids use our libraries. They use our libraries. And for them to say they can't afford at a time when I've got 28% unemployment in East Oakland seems a little unconscionable to me. But hey, they have to build a soccer field in Moraga Canyon.
I think actually the briefing was a perfect starting for Women's Initiative. You were mentioning the unemployment rates in the city, and we're happy to share with you that Women's Initiative has been around for over 23 years. And what we do is we are helping women achieve their dream of starting a business and making these businesses thriving businesses in the city. And today what we are planning to do is a walking tour around the area so that you can visit some of those businesses that we have helped start. Some are very new, like UC Joint around the corner, but others like World of Braid had been around for over 10 years. So we're really proud of our graduates and what they've been able to achieve. We know that 70% of our graduates will start a business within 12 months and will remain in business 5 years later. We know that 12 months after graduating, they double their income. So the average income of our graduates is $14,000 a year. And within 12 months, they go to 37. And our really goal is that they achieve self-sufficiency. That's our main goal. So we are very happy to have you here as our guest today and show you some of the results of our program and meet some of the women, some of which are here, like Susan Grant, Maisha Harrison, and of course you had some of the delicious sandwiches from Bexel Betty. And we know that women, when they get the support that they need, they can really start businesses that give back to the communities. They're paying taxes, they're getting out of welfare, they're giving better lives to their kids, but they're also hiring, in average, 2 employees, and they're paying above the minimum wage. They're actually doubling that. They pay about $16 an hour. So they are really socially responsible. They are starting green businesses. According to Liz, which is right there, which is our statistician. Oh, God, that's a mouthful. 50% of our graduates are starting green businesses, Liz?
Almost 60%, 57%.
So we are really socially responsible at all levels.